Wide serving bowls like this are some of my favorite things to make and use. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the entire process. The key to keep in mind is you want to go more vertical first with your pulls, and then later in the shaping stage, you'll bring it down into a low, almost platter-like form. And I'll show you just how I do it. You start with 5 pounds of clay, wedge it, center it, just as I'm doing here. I typically cone it up 3 or maybe 4 times until the clay feels comfortable and organized. Then you want to open it up. I do this move, you'll see in a lot of my videos, where I'm squeezing my right thumb into my left fingers on the back side. I'll do that 1 or 2 times, and I'm going to be careful to open it in a bowl form, meaning that the bottom is not perfectly flat like a cylinder. I'm going to start that curve right away in the opening. After the kind of pushing open on the backside, I pinch it open, and then I start to pull. I want to get my knuckle underneath, just stronger for that first pull, and bring up the clay. Moving right into the second pull here. Got my sponge kind of activated right into the side of the bowl. And then after finishing every pull, I pay attention to the rim and compress it a little bit just to keep things organized. You can see I'm not going super wide just yet. I'm focusing on getting the height, and then later I'll bring the walls down. With throwing on the wheel, you're always fighting gravity, so you want to open in more of a kind of trumpet shape or a fountain shape. And then you can see I'm moving to a large metal rib, and I'm starting to remove slip and lower the walls. In this first pass, I'm mostly removing slip and just getting things organized. You can see all that slip. I'm going to just take that off and set it aside. This next pass, I'm going to bring it lower. I'm always supporting the clay, supporting the rim with my right hand underneath. And each pass with the rib, I'll just bring it a little bit lower. I actually spend more time on the shaping stage than I do pulling. And you can see that same clay, that same form, as I make these repeated passes with the rib, gets lower and more open. If you get really skilled with this, you can turn it into almost a platter form, but you can really stop anywhere in the process if you're happy with it. After lowering the walls, I'll pass over it again with a soft rib, kind of remove any of the throwing marks, and begin just kind of that final smoothing. Then I'll pay attention to the rim, clean up the bottom. If you make a good circular cut with your wooden knife, that will set you up when you flip it over later for trimming. Removing any excess clay here. I'm throwing on a hydrobat, which means I don't have to cut it off. The hydrobat is it's made from hydrocal, which is a plaster-like material. And after a few days, you can see I'm removing the plastic, and the pot simply just will come right off. When it comes off the hydrobat, you're ready to trim. It's nice and leather hard at that point. So I'm going to invert it back onto the wheel head, center it, and then use some plugs of clay to hold it in place, and I will begin trimming. I like to trim with the large loop tools. You can see I do most of my work with a large loop tool, and I use one other detail trimmer. Lately I've been testing a bunch of loop tools in the studio, and I found these new, to me at least, loop tools from Zim Studio Tools, and you'll see the detail one later. I really like it. So I'm going to start by removing clay from the outside, just lightly get the outside of the foot ring set. Don't want to remove too much clay from the side though, because I want to have the wall support what I'm doing in the foot ring. Then I set the inside of the foot ring, and then I start from the middle and work my way out. You could start from out and work your way into the middle. It's whatever is comfortable for you. The key thing I'd like to point out is that I've set my foot ring and I'm going to just stick with it at this point. So made my decision, I'm going to work with it. I like to do repeated small passes with the trimming, removing a little bit of clay each time. You'll see that I stop and tap it, push a little bit. I'm testing if there's any flex. I've learned that if I can get to the point where there's just the slightest flex in the clay, I've trimmed to the appropriate thickness and I'll stop at that point, at least in that area. Here you can see I'm making another small pass, letting the spinning of the wheel do most of the work. I don't want to gouge into the clay or remove too much clay at once. That can cause problems. Okay, now I'm moving to back to the outside of the foot. I'm going to really go pretty quick and remove a lot of clay and just kind of get the wall how I want it. Trying to even things out, get a nice shape. You'll see here in a little bit that detail trimmer that I'm in love with, my new trimmer. It's got a flat side and a curved side, but I'm still using the big one here to really kind of that first pass. And there's that detail loop tool. You can see it's a really interesting shape. It's got a square side and a curved side. I found it on Etsy. Here I'm kind of making my first pass at sort of cleaning up the foot. I'm going to lower that foot ring a little bit. This particular pot's got a little bit of live action to it. I don't mind it, but you have to be kind of cautious with that. You don't want to over trim in one area or the other. Okay. Paying attention again to the inside of the foot ring, testing to see if it has any of that flex. If it doesn't, I'm going to remove a little bit more clay, but see I'm starting not in the center, but kind of halfway out, because the center is already thin enough and I just want to remove a little bit more clay to get that foot ring nice and even. After trimming, I'll smooth things with a damp sponge, removing any marks, closing pores of the clay, etc. And then I'll go back over it again on the outside with that super soft Mud Tools rib. And that's basically it for trimming, and then I will return it to a bat or a wear board, cover it with plastic, and allow it to dry slowly. With a wide form like this, you really want it to dry slowly so it doesn't warp or crack. You want to have, the even thickness from the trimming and then even dryness, and plastic can help with that if you think there's going to be a draft or a breeze or anything in your studio that would cause one side or the other to dry more quickly. So that's a 12-inch hydro bat it's on. At this point it's down around about probably 11 inches wide. These bowls will usually end up around 9 or 10 inches wide, but they will hold quite a bit of food, salad, pasta, whatever, for serving. Okay, I didn't show the bisque firing, but the pot is bisque now, and I'm going to pour the first coat of glaze. With most of my pots, I do 2 layers of glaze, maybe 2 different glazes. In this case, it's going to be kind of a glossier glaze, and then the second coat will be more of a liner glaze, and those just mix together nicely for me. So I'm kind of, I call it corking and uncorking. So I'll twist my wrist and then try to rotate it to get an even pour. I'm trying to get most of the glaze back in a bucket, but I've got a big concrete mixing trough that I got at a hardware store, and that helps just catch any glaze, and I can clean out that trough and get the glaze back into the bucket later. So here's the second glaze. Got my corked wrist, and then I uncork it when I twist it around. It's easier on the inside. These two glazes mix together pretty well, although I am going to go over it. First I'm going to remove any glaze from the foot ring, and then I go over it with a metal knife, or sometimes I'll use a metal rib to kind of even out any glaze drips or things like that. You'll have to get to know the glazes that you use if you're layering, or if they'll show drips or not. Some of the glossier glazes, they'll melt a little more and they won't show the drips as readily as a matte glaze. Cleaning up a little glaze flaw here, and that's basically it. And then it's into the glaze kiln. And here's the final pot, speckled glaze with a kind of matte white glaze on top. And that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you try this. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Until next time.